WrestleFriends! WrestleFriends podcast!
Hi, WrestleFriends special, a
Mini.
new series of minis that Mark's came up with.
Shall I explain why?
Yeah.
I'm doing the minis. First of all, can we kick the heater off?
It's getting a bit warm in here, isn't it?
Not getting warm, but it'll just go like this on the recording.
Warm and noisy.
Thank you, Fraser.
Fraser's here, by the way. Hi.
Oh yeah, Fraser.
forgot to do introductions.
Fraser's still here.
Mark's here as well, and I'm here as well.
Good times.
This has started really well.
So yeah, the idea behind the minis is, so if I release 3 episodes in a month, there's always like a tiny little bit of data left that is too small to release an episode, but is like significant in terms of like we're paid for it. So I wanted to use all the data up.
Things that annoy Mark.
Yeah, but it gives us a chance to release more content in the world, into the world of the web.
For no one to listen to.
For somebody one day to listen
For that
to.
for that north and south Tyneside market.
We've talked about this before. This is like our little time capsule, isn't it?
It's for us. Right.
Reason.
So, the title to the first WrestleFriends mini is "Why is NXT so good?"
Well,
So, for our first bullet point I've got is Triple H.
yes.
So, he seems to know what the modern wrestling nerd wants.
Agreed.
What does the modern wrestling nerd want?
Simple storylines.
Yep.
We don't want people shoved down our throats. We want to be able to pick which you are and boo for. We don't want to be told who
We
to
want
cheer
to
for.
actually watch wrestling
Yeah.
rather than...
We want to see the wrestling. Yeah, we don't want to see Vince McMahon is kind of like an entertainment first, second. Wrestling comes second, whereas Triple H is like wrestling through and through.
Yeah.
I would disagree. I would say even the first is look, and then entertainment. Unless look comes in entertainment, they don't even have to be entertaining for Vince sometimes.
You gotta wonder what happened in the Attitude Era, right? Vince McMahon, he was about to go under. Like WCW was doing better than them. What happened? Was it Vince Russo, or was it like? Did Vince come up with Steve Austin? Vince Russo claims he came up with DX.
I think it was the quality of the performers, wasn't it? More than
I
anything.
think Russo came up with the whole prospect of Austin and Vince.
But then if Russo came up with the stuff
Why
that
are we
happened in the
talking about
Attitude Era, I just went off on one.
Well, I think the whole Triple H being so good is that Vince is bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the.
Was
Okay.
the Attitude Era anything to do with Vince, or was it Vince Russo?
But then we're giving Vince Russo's been a lot of companies at the ground since then.
I don't think
has.
it was necessarily Vince Russo. I just think it was basically like it was just a reaction, and normal Vince tried to do what he wanted to do.
ECW and made it mainstream.
He had to do what he could do just to react to WCW at the time. So
Triple H gives us what we want as wrestling nerds: good matches, sensible storylines, all of our favourite wrestlers.
great recruitment. I
Plus,
think that's the big thing.
we enjoy as a grown up. I think it's more of a grown ups thing, like a grown ups brand.
Yeah.
It's
rather
getting,
than
it's getting more violent, isn't it? Like
rather
NXT,
than
I would
like,
say.
I think
Well, they had the Extreme Rules match.
Yeah.
and
The generally every NXT match is some sort of chair shot or like all the time, and
just more brutal strikes and things like that.
it's more real.
Plus, we like indie wrestling, and they bring a lot of like the indie stars through, and that's where they start.
WWE's version of indie wrestling, isn't it? NXT.
Yeah, and that's why we like it more.
So there's Triple H, kind of. So travel's provided for the NXT superstars, buses, planes, whatever, and the hotels are provided. Neither of which happens on the main roster. So you've also got happy employees
What? So
So
on
like
the main roster, they've got to book
hire their own
They've got to do
cars.
that, really?
Yeah.
No way.
Hire their own cars.
They
They have to get themselves from show to show.
Well,
Whereas NXT,
so
Triple H,
They can't help. They do help them as well. But they don't necessarily all
whereas Samoa Joe
together.
said, like, when he turned up to NXT and they were like, "Oh, this bus is on. You need to be down for this time, and we're staying at this hotel, and your food's on." He was like, "Can I not just stay here and forever?" Like, and so it's like happy employees.
That's
like, as
mental.
well.
That.
But
I
it's
thought
also for the fact
WWE
that,
would-
especially at the start, they didn't tour that much.
Yeah.
So they were all in
Like
Orlando.
local, yeah.
So like it wasn't as, and then obviously what happens in the main roster is it gives them a chance to go home. So they all live random places, don't they? So there's no reason why they can't go and visit the uncle en route to blah blah blah. So they just work out what's best. But a lot of wrestlers like the road.
Like doing it that style.
and a lot of them like that's how they bond. They create like
But you can do
factions
that,
way.
but you
like-
can do that on a bus that somebody
I
else has
thought that
paid
they
for.
would have had a bus though, because didn't Roman Reigns chuck Enzo off a bus? What was that all about?
I don't know.
They must have some.
Maybe
sort
I'm
of
just
bus
talking
somewhere.
shit.
Maybe.
Should we move on to the next one?
Just a thought on Enzo Amore, by the way, before going too much into it. I can't wear my slippers again.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait until his court
Big-
case is sorted out, and then you can decide whether you're going to put your slippers back on.
Them slippers have been on and off, ever since
the
I
only
got
thing
them.
that's
Now
been
they're
on
like
and off.
tainted with reputation.
Now I'm gonna have to burn them soon.
Sexual offences.
The same
Bum juice.
level of WWE production value on a small show.
What?
Why?
Oh, I'm talking about NXT still, sorry. Two questions in and we've already forgot what we were for.
So the WWE level of production
Yeah.
At a small event.
at a small event. As a first-time watcher, you're not going to be put off thinking, "Oh, this is grainy" or whatever. Like some people would be on indie wrestling. Although I think the standard of production on most indie shows now, because of readily available technology, is good. But like entrances,
Yeah. And it's good for like the small crowd as well. Having the crowd, it's a lush sort of like
It's intense.
yeah.
that was me next thing. Intimate show
They've got like
I think it all blends into one.
it's not just that now though. They've got like
And
it's
big specials.
It's an intimate show with big specials with big superstars as well. You're not going there now to like see up and comers. You know what I mean? You're there to see.
'Cause
You
it's
have
its
got
own
the
thing.
up and comers,
Yeah, yeah.
but you've also got big names like
You
Adam
see, like,
Cole.
so- you see,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? You've
They
got
were
like
on big ass shows before NXT, like size wise.
I mean, Bobby Roode when he was on it. I mean, didn't get much bigger than Bobby Roode outside WWE, does it? And he had a year stint on NXT.
Champion and everything.
Same with Nakamura, probably the biggest name in Japan, and then he went to NXT. So they're not. It's intimate, and they're massive names.
Just another tangent, because tangents happen.
Uh-huh.
I watched a match online last night. Brock Lesnar versus Nakamura. Did you watch it as well?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I seen it was on there. I forgot that Brock Lesnar ever had a stint in Japan.
Yeah, he's two-time IWGP champion.
I know.
He looked really good. Like you can tell, it was like back in the day when he was roided.
Just who beat Nakamura, I'm guessing.
I think it was when he lost the belt.
Okay.
What did you think about the? Because we haven't talked about it yet. The championship match at the Royal Rumble.
Loved it.
I think it was really good.
It was short,
Fucking short though. Again,
short,
wasn't
smashy. Big guys, that'll do me. Don't want to see big guys wrestle for 20 minutes. It was like in Kane. Although I don't like him, it was fine. I liked it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm guessing you weren't talking about the abomination of the 2-on-1 match.
No,
No,
we've already done that.
Yeah,
I like
okay.
the bit where
I hated it.
I like the bit where Brock Lesnar tipped the table on Braun,
Braun.
but then he just got back up. Beast.
Um,
Back in NXT anyway.
full the performance center. You've got in-ring training on your doorstep. Promo classes.
How much would you love in life, and that this would probably be the best thing that would ever happen to me, would be to go to the performance center and have just a day just like wandering about,
We'll go
watching what goes on.
We can
could,
do that.
Could we go to the
You're
gym?
gonna do it one day of the year and it costs a fortune.
Could we go to we could go to the gym and like do a commentate on a match?
Yeah.
Because they've got like booths where like Corey Graves talked about
Yeah.
on ANC, where he went and practiced commentating
Yeah.
in his commentating booth.
Beth Phoenix did. She was practicing doing that as
We
well.
could do promo. We
Beth
could do.
Phoenix was.
Well, she'd play because she'd been doing the mixed match. She's been commenting on the mixed match one.
Was she?
Yeah, I think
I've
You
never
can
seen
go in-
any of them.
You can go in all day, do promos, go up and like someone will show you on a video, go back, do another one, someone will show you on a video, could do that, go to the gym, like get some really basic like in-ring training.
I wonder, like, I
You
looked
could could do entrances and stuff. They've got like entrance bit.
Oh, they do that. They have apparently they train from something like 8 or 9 till 2 or 3, and then they have a gym session for like an hour or two, and then they have promo class. So they're literally there from like 8 till 8 most nights. Most people.
Yeah.
And then so like they do like the in-ring training, then they just do the bulking up and the cardio. And then they do whatever they need to work on that day. Like, but some like they do special classes. Like Sean will do like a performance class, how to like make something look good.
Yeah.
And then
Is that Sean Williams from EastEnders, or is it Shawn Michaels you're talking about?
no, it's
Could be Sean Scott Williams.
Sean Paul?
yeah, Sean Paul. Should give him the light.
Bit about
Famous Sean's.
Sean Connery.
I almost made a reference to Westlife, and I was even wrong because it's Shane. So I'm glad I didn't go that far. That would have been a travesty. So yeah, they do like special classes and stuff, and because Corey talked about that, how he ended up like helping Dusty.
Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
Yes, it is. It's also Corey from who's in the Goonies.
Yeah, we can't remember. his
Corey,
name.
whatever.
Corey
he's called.
Feldman.
That's the one.
The one who got non-stand.
Moving on.
Did.
So yeah, so Corey,
Went to a
Oh, is it
dog
Corey
place
Graves?
there.
Corey Griffiths.
You're on first name terms with a lot of these guys.
Oh yeah, CG. That's what I call him. Seagrave. Because he was saying how Dusty like helped him loads with his gimmick, like and perfect it, and then Dusty obviously put enough faith in him that he actually helped Corey take those classes sometimes from when obviously Dusty like ran the show, didn't he? Pretty much, so he would do that, then that, and then that, and he let Corey just like show how to do promo. So then it's like you've got all that, and obviously there's guys there all the time, and apparently they get like guys like from the main roster to come down and help every now and then. So like people like Cesaro and Dolph will come down and like be like, look, this is what you should be, this is the standard you should be doing, like blah 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 blah.
Yeah, they get a lot of people from outside of WWE as well, don't they? Sort of
Mike
like
Quackenbush.
special guest
Like
trainers.
Mike Quackenbush from Chikara's head trainer.
See one of the Bushwhackers.
Luke and Butch. The Bushwhackers. No, yeah,
Times.
he done a guest thing.
But because then obviously at the same time it's like they want to keep them in the WWE, but they also want to make them relevant to everyone. So I think it's a good way, and I think that Triple H has obviously got full hold on that of like, look, you need to be WWE ready.
Yeah.
Because even like a lot of the people, like only AJ Styles has pretty much been the one that came straight to main roster, and probably because he's the best in the world. Everyone else has went NXT first, because you basically had to teach Shin how to like speak English.
It's a different style of wrestling as well. Everything else.
It's true, isn't it? Like Shin, like his promo's still the worst thing about him by a country mile.
Doesn't
he
need
just
to do
shakes
them though.
I know he doesn't, but they do. They make him do
He
it.
just
So
doesn't need to do them.
In-house physio. That's going to keep you going all the time with your little niggling
ice
injuries.
baths. They do oxygen tents, ice baths. That was why I would love Breaking Ground to come back, because it showed you everything inside. And if anything, for me, I think the only reason why they did it now is just to show how good the performance center was. That was it. Because otherwise they'd be doing it.
Back to the gym and stuff. Like I know we talk about them a lot, but I learn a lot from listening to people talk on Edge and Christian's podcast.
Yeah.
And Johnny Gargano, like obviously at the minute he's looking absolutely like ripped, and he's like, oh, it's the best shape I've ever been in my career, because when you're at the performance center, you've got the same gym every day and like trainers and that. So I'm looking better than, and like they've got like a nutritionist. Like I'm looking better than I've ever looked before. So like and if you think everyone in NXT, unless you're like your gimmick is you're like a Killian Dane or something, they all look like.
So that's
terrific.
why, I mean, if you're in there from 8 till 8, you've got people making your meals for you. You're being told what you need to do to look good. So why the hell is Cassius Ohno still the way he is?
Let's trim down a bit though.
I don't think Cassius like sleeps in. Comes
He
in.
just comes in when
He's
he
going to
wants.
be a trainer there, though. He's going to be a trainer there.
He helps people though. I'm sure I've heard someone
That's
on
why
the
they signed
podcast
him.
say that, because he like helps with experience and stuff, and saying like, oh, because that's obviously why Sean and stuff are there, because like I'm sure Gargano mentioned something like that with Sean and said, oh, he referenced like a match that he did. He said, oh, this is why I did that then, and it has the same relevance now. And he says when he got experience from like that long ago, and he referenced something like Sean versus Taker or something, because it was, I think he was talking about something about a match between him and who was it? Laws or something like that, and he was saying like you can still reference these big things, and you just got to know what to do.
He's always got one eye on Texas though, hasn't he? Hey.
Because of his funny eye.
Yeah. What's going on with his eyes, man? Bad eyes.
Bad eyes. Shawn Michaels has got bad eyes. Tag team wrestling is shown as important.
And main event worthy.
It's not, like you said, it's not out of place. Like that Authors of Pain DIY main event of TakeOver was class, and it didn't seem out of place either.
War Games. Brilliant.
All tag teams in that.
Apart from, yep, they were.
Apart from-
no, Sanity.
apart from Roddy.
Yeah, what was he in that for? He was just
So he could wear-
had nothing else to
So
do.
he could wear a little baby Authors of Pain outfit.
It was like
The good thing
mini
is though,
EOP.
it's no worse than Angle winning in the Shield.
That
was
was
it?
the worst
do you know
thing
what
that
I mean?
ever happened ever.
So, but like Roddy obviously is going to perform every time in the ring, regardless. He didn't have to speak because he had Paul Ellering speaking for him. So he just used to be like Paul Ellering, would, Authors of Pain. I do it, and then Roddy would just be like family. Like you just have to say one word. You just summon it.
Try hard.
Do this for the kids, and then. Oh, one thing by the way, have you know Authors of Pain are speaking English now?
Yeah, that was annoying.
Yeah, that's what they do now. So I've got a theory that
How would you do?
I've got a theory that Paul Ellering's not going to go to the main roster with them. I think they're going to go up on their own because I don't think he'll want to tour they do.
I find Paul Ellering a bit annoying now. I have for a while. I think he's just an old guy. Like they use him. Like obviously he's done great things. Don't get us wrong. So respect. But at the same time, he's just like a withery old guy in a leather jacket that just
I
shouts
don't think he'll
at
go up with them.
massive guys. Like if he goes to the main roster, kids are gonna be going, "Why is Grandpa like doing this with two?" Because they're like mammoth guys.
Yeah.
I would get him maybe as if they're like similar height, but he's like, it's more crazy to me than what Alexa Bliss was
I'm
doing
with you
with
now.
Blake and Murphy.
Honestly, I don't think they need him anymore.
Having
Plus, I think his banter's really crap now. I think he's like an old
It is, it's
guy.
like
that's
1980s.
you know what he
wrestling,
talks like?
like-
You know who he talks like? Bray. He
does, aye.
He does Bray shit.
He does, but because he's old, he like in
I
between
think.
things
Do you think they
sometimes.
might turn on him before they leave?
Well, beat him up.
Yeah.
Fucking
They
die.
just beat the old man up. Right?
Cripple him.
Why not?
Because you would like it.
I would enjoy it.
Yeah, he must be like 1,000 years old.
He's not as old as you think. He's like 65.
He's
Yeah,
a bit
but-
like
but
the old
if-
professor of
Can you imagine
thingy,
them
what's it called?
being able to pull a punch properly?
Charles-
Futurama.
Charles, is he?
yeah.
Farnsworth. Professor Farnsworth.
Can you imagine them
Good
being able
news,
to like
everyone.
pull a punch against him? They're so big, they're not going to be able to like half-arse anything.
Oh, they could
So
just a little clothesline.
I think having him.
Imagine if they did the power bomb. Power bomb against him and Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
Through a table.
It was really clever having Ellering with them because he's like he was LOD manager.
Yeah.
So he can like this is how you can be so dominant that you'll always be over because you'll just kill people.
That's
like
an-
tell them how I have that aura.
Uh-huh.
So this of all the things why NXT is so good, one of my things is recruitment. I think more than anything
Because they were two MMA guys.
because
on
This goes back to
but-
Triple
yeah.
H though. We've gone
Yeah,
full
oh, yeah.
circle because he knows exactly who is good and what's going on outside of WWE. And I don't think Vince has got a clue what's going on
But you know
outside
what it
of
is?
WWE.
I don't think it's all Triple H though, because Triple H puts faith in other
Well, he
people.
must have scouts and people.
Oh, yeah,
like
no,
that,
but
like
it's the people
football
that he
scouts.
surrounds
It's
the place
like
with. It's
Will
like
Regal
Robbie
and stuff.
Brookside,
The wrestling men, aren't they?
Regal, Sarah Del Rey, like all
Because they
wrestling
mention
men.
the scouts, like when Regal and Robbie Brookside and
Shawn Michaels.
in what's his face? What's the Prince Albert? What?
Matt Bloom.
So them three like actually go to Japan
Mm-hmm.
and go to England and Australia and recruit like and look like them three specifically. I mean, I don't know if they still do that.
So if
but
you
at
think
first
about
they
Matt
did.
Bloom was over in Japan as Giant
Massively
Bernard.
on it.
And like that's like he's gonna have like
Cancer.
connections there and that was awful.
But
That's WWE main roster's version of being over in Japan as a white guy.
So when
Just draw Japanese
when you
writing
look
on
at that,
yourself.
the trust that Triple H puts into these people who recruit not just wrestlers, managers like Selena Vega, like
know what?
arguably
Well,
the best
amazing
thing
that,
happening to NXT because they've made someone that was probably going to disappear eventually unless she came involved, and now he's like performing like matches that are like out of this world every.
It's that combination of you've got like Mexican guys, Japanese guys, indie guys, real sports people as well, like a mixture of all them, like Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli, who I quite like actually. Like they were just NFL players who
Was
they
it back
recruited.
Corbin?
Corbin, NFL guy. You've got a mixture of all these worlds.
Like that's what Corbin's probably the best example of all of them. He literally had no experience, and now he's one of the main event guys to an extent.
Yeah.
But you can mix them in with these indie guys who've been running the indie circuit
You
for
teach
years and
them
years and
in-ring
years,
all the time.
and then they're gonna come in. They're gonna learn stuff off them. It's just massive. Like
Actually, the best one, Alexa Bliss. She didn't do any other
Powerlifter,
wrestling.
wasn't she?
No, cheerleader.
Cheerleader.
Yeah,
So-
I'm sure she did like Arnold Classic, like
Mandy Rose was.
No,
the,
I'm sure Alexa did.
Did
she did like the bodybuilding stuff
So
as well.
you've got someone that's never done wrestling before in their entire life is now the only SmackDown and Raw Women's Champion.
And she's a class wrestler, so it shows you don't have to be like this indie darling that we love, like because we're wrestling nerds. You can do it
Yeah.
from. I think Corbin's good in ring as well.
I just think Alexa Bliss has got everything though. Like every single class like they've done in NXT is made her like. What's a better advert? You basically say she's one of the best on the mic.
She wouldn't even need to say anything. The faces that she pulls, she can just like...
She's like a spoiled brat, isn't she, when she plays a character? But she's probably the best on the mic as a woman, I would say.
Oh, definitely.
So, and how frustrating is that for all the people that have been touring around the world for all this, and she's came in, and they're basically like, she's like the best. Great.
Now a touring brand, has its own merch on WWE.com, releases DVDs. Fraser's just kindly lent us a NXT DVD that I'm going to enjoy. Wrestlers are given time to change and evolve into what the best gimmick is. Look at when Velveteen Dream started. Patrick Clark, gimmick was a bit crap. Like, wasn't really complete.
Just no.
You
He
hated
was
it.
stoppy-starty as well. He would just come like now and again.
And then they like whittled it down, changed these like, and now it's probably my favourite gimmick at the minute. Just the way that it's presented,
And I like
that's
them now.
and like that's over time. I'm trying to think of CN.
that was a big
gimmick,
one.
That
Like,
gimmick's evolved and evolved and evolved. So now it's like
now he's main roster. Definitely like ready to go up now.
and like you say, found the right person to put with him, found the right attitude to have, right gear. He came out in that stupid hat and
and the braces.
braces that were awful that got him booed straight away because there was something out of the 80s.
He looked like, is he Cuban?
He's Mexican.
Because they made him look Cuban like that though.
Yeah,
That's
it was
what I
like a
don't
Cuban
understand.
look with the braces
And
and
I was like, well, that's really like ridiculous because like that's just saying a Chinese person's Japanese.
I
Do you
took
know
an
what I mean? That's like,
instant dislike into him because of that costume outfit. Who was he fighting again? His debut?
Pass.
Can't remember.
Gargano. No, it wasn't
Is
Gargano.
that Corbin?
Might have been Corbin.
one thing that it kind of ties in with that category is what you're saying is I like the fact that people have left and people have came back and they haven't just like disowned them like they have in WWE sometimes where they're like, no, you've burned too many bridges, you never come back.
McIntyre.
Well, NXT, yeah. He went to NXT. He went down to NXT, didn't he? And then he left, and he's come back, and they've just opened him with. They've let him give his experience, kind of like not in a similar way to what NJP do with the apprentices, kind of where they go out and get experience. But like, how many times have people came
But
back?
it's the equivalent of that. It's
Yeah,
someone like Drew McIntyre.
But without WWE, they wouldn't unless they literally came back and they signed the best guy, like AJ, for example. If someone left, the only other one I could think of is if they possibly do that with Cody Rhodes now.
And this is what another thing. NXT is such a thing now, in its own brand.
Yeah.
That I don't think Cody would be disappointed if he came back and he had a 6 months in NXT first.
I think that would be fair enough.
I
If
think
you
he
leave,
would look at like McIntyre's gimmick's completely different from when he was in WWE, and it's like you say, it's exactly the same as the Young Boy system in Japan. You can like go off and you learn. Even getting a chance to do it, like people like Dunn and that can wrestle wherever they want, and as long as they've got these X amount of month in their calendar.
that's the good thing about them, sort of like you were saying before about them paying for them travel and stuff like that. It gives people like the UK guys, it gives them the opportunity to go back and do their own thing and not have to worry about that traveling. I'm presuming they pay for that travel money and stuff like that to get them back.
Yeah.
Because that costs a fortune, wouldn't it?
I really like one thing about them is sometimes obviously like Raw and SmackDown go a bit stale and you get a bit like, oh, nothing's happening. Like the only time I can remember that happening with NXT was when Shane, Samoa Joe and all that went up, and then it became like kind of Drew McIntyre kind of thing. And I was like, oh, nothing's really happening here now. It's almost like they literally took the essence, the best people, but they somehow managed to turn it around again.
Always turn it back
And
around.
I was feeling like that a few weeks ago, and then at Takeover Philadelphia, I was like, oh, he has One Machine, he has EC3, and he has
That's
Ricochet.
they're
So
your
be
big
fine.
names for after WrestleMania, aren't
But
they?
then the main event was possibly one of the best matches that they've had ever in the whole company.
Dave
Like,
Meltzer 5-star match.
so, wasn't it a 6-star?
Nah, it was a 5
Was
star.
it 5-star?
He only did the
He's
6
only
star thing
ever-
for the like
Oh, okay.
Omega match.
Oh,
and that.
okay.
He's only ever given about 6 5-stars, hasn't he, though, for WWE
But
matches.
so you've got you've got that. So that just the fact that that was such a good match made you think, oh, these are actually main eventers now. Like, when that was the whole build up before that even started, I was like, really? I was like, is this gonna be a thing? But then as it's progressed, and now they've got Champ Iron on it, and then like Almas is still kind of linked in a way. It's like they've managed to like create a whole new aspect.
I think
again.
it's really clever how they've worked. They've got the Gargano Ciampa storyline, and they've worked CN into it.
Yeah.
Like it's really like. So my next point is, now the vast majority of Raw and SmackDown are NXT guys.
Yeah.
If you look at the Royal Rumble, there was like 2 that weren't NXT guys. I had it. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, but I've left that at home. But
Randy Orton and John Cena.
I think there was that. And Rey Mysterio.
Braun Strowman wasn't in the
It's just the
Rumble,
people. It's just the people that've been wrestling for.
No, Braun
them.
Strowman was NXT.
Yeah.
Was
He
he?
came through the performance center. He just was so big that Vince wanted him.
All
but
of
he,
them did. Yeah,
but he
the
did all
whites.
the. He did all of the.
So he done all the like backstage.
You'll see that on
stuff.
that DVD. Actually, all the whites
Uh-huh.
and all that. It's like really
But
interesting.
So the difference is the quality of the show and the writing and the execution on NXT is the way we want it, because those guys become quite tedious quite quickly on the main roster.
I'm hoping now that Triple H has took over 205 Live, that gives another platform for them, for NXT superstars to go to, that's just as big as sort of like Raw and SmackDown, for the littler
Yeah.
guy, for the cruiserweights and stuff like that. Because if they build that up as a big brand like they have, like if it gets as good a following as NXT's got, the likes of your Gargano, Ciampa and people like that,
They're gonna wanna be
they've got
there.
somewhere to go. Like,
It's not going to be
they're
like
not gonna
205
get-
Live are being demoted by
Yeah.
going there. They're going to think, oh, this is an opportunity and I've got
And the likes of
confidence.
your
that-
Ricochet and stuff like that, they're coming up. There's somewhere for him to go.
I've got
'cause
confidence
they get
that-
lost in the mix on Raw and SmackDown, whereas 205 Live they can really like.
I think it's the
Show what
venue.
they've got.
Showcase what they've got,
The
yeah.
venue is the only problem that they've
now
got
that Triple
They've
H
got
is in
everything else.
charge, though, I've got faith that it can become there.
I just think it's the venue's too big for it at the minute. I think I don't think they'll ever scale down though. I think you can't really go down a notch when you've already got a big arena. Do you know
But if
what I
you
mean?
can't scale down, then you've got to make the product so good that people
Yeah.
are cheering for it.
So
that's the only way to go, isn't it?
But at the same time, you're not going to get that after 3 hours of SmackDown and dark matches and then mixed match at the minute. So
I don't know, like if SmackDown's been piss poor one week and then you've got a really good episode of 205 Live after, it might bring the crowd back to life again, because SmackDown's hit and miss now sometimes.
But,
It's
but
like,
regardless though, that if you've been sitting there for 4 hours at a live event,
it's like a WrestleMania thing,
Yeah.
innit? Like last year, by the time you got to Undertaker Roman Reigns, the crowd was dead because they couldn't be arsed with it. Because it's been like they've been sat there all day.
and all it takes is like an AJ Styles match before that
Uh-huh.
to wipe the crowd out, because that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like having people like AJ on SmackDowns, I think, could affect the cruiserweights in a way, because you get some people like that who will just wow the crowd, and then the crowd go mental, and then you can't pick them up again after that.
You could have
Do you
it
know what
as a warm up though for SmackDown 205 Live. You could have it as like we could record it before, so the crowd are quite hyped anyway. They're excited for it. And when I've been watching 205 Live, it's been literally 2 matches, 2 long matches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Oh, is that what it is now?
That's all it's been, like 2 matches with a little bit of like banter in
It
between.
hasn't always been like that.
And like,
Yeah.
It used to
so it's
be
only
a bit.
2 warm up matches, and then you can do all the backstage stuff. You can pre-record that. You know what I mean?
Should we do some rapid fire for the last 2 minutes?
Yes, let's.
So
Rapid fire.
Like statement, small explanation, boom. Right, platform for the UK guys. It's going a little bit stale at the minute, but it's been the best thing in 2017 on NXT probably.
Yes.
Arguably some of the best on the roster are from UK.
Because I didn't include
Agreed.
them when we talked about the mixture of guys, when it's like the Mexicans, Japanese, sports guys, UK guys.
I priced up going to the performance centre, you know.
How much was it?
It was really expensive. We went, just before you do any more rapid fire, Vicky wanted me to go to Orlando, and she still does, which I do want to go to, but one of our little sweeteners was we could go to the performance centre, so she typed some questions onto TripAdvisor, and this is another example of wrestling fans being not very nice sometimes. They were really quite rude to my wife about asking for a visit. They were like, it is a place of work, it is not for people to go looking around and stuff like that. Not very nice
These
wrestling
are
fans.
not representatives of WWE, just
like people.
fans,
Yeah, yeah.
and dickheads.
Yeah.
I could ask someone about that, because I know someone that goes to NXT events a lot, so I
Yeah.
could ask about that just in case.
Oh,
Off record.
Fresh ideas, war games, bring War Games back.
I think that should be a yearly thing.
Having shows at festivals.
Download. I want to go download.
Dusty Classic tag team tournament. Everyone loves the
I mean,
tournament.
arguably they're not the ones coming up with the ideas in the first place, but they're doing it on a WWE brand, which is good enough for me.
Yeah.
Because Progress were the first ones to do it at Download.
The only thing,
yeah, they did it a couple of years before.
But then obviously NXT do it, and then everyone's like, "Oh, NXT."
heavy metal and wrestling should go hand in hand.
Always.
Don't like it when Flow Rider does the theme for WrestleMania.
Started off the women.
Mix.
Started off that. Yeah, that was
Royal Rumble.
bad. Started off the women's revolution by putting the spotlight on women's wrestling.
Page
in NXT.
Oh, them Sasha
Well,
Banks. Becky
the
Lynch,
page
Malkin,
to start off,
Sasha
and then you've got the fourth horsewomen.
Yeah.
And, getting a wrestler promo package. I know you guys hate them, but I think they do have for somebody who's watching these guys for the first
I
time.
don't hate them.
So you've got like Roddy had a good
Maybe
one.
I just hate the people who've done them so far.
The Finn Balor one was really good. They did when he was playing with his Lego and that.
Lush.
You've got TM6 one recently. I know they've got a place though for somebody who's never seen.
Why
these people.
don't that? Right, okay, do them, but don't keep playing them for a year after.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just put them on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Rehabilitating talented TNA wrestlers. Bobby Roode.
What about
EC3?
rehabilitating people who are on the main roster? Like putting them down? We've talked
Yeah,
about
we said they
this
should
before.
do
Arguably,
that.
some of the biggest stars on WWE are now ex-TNA. Made the
Yeah.
name in TNA.
Yeah, like AJ and
Joe.
But that was because of the way
Rude.
because they come in, they're in that disorganized TNA environment. To come in and then you learn how to work within the WWE framework.
Uh-huh.
Real wrestling fans there show a lot of passion. That makes the Full Sail experience, and the crowds at the takeovers are absolutely mental as well.
I honestly think they would have a much better crowd in the UK every time. If they did a Full Sail version in the UK, the crowd would be so much better because we have good
Probably,
chants.
but I've never seen a crowd get so hyped up as I did when I was watching Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, that NXT takeover. Is it Chicago?
Yeah.
It was honestly, it was amazing.
That's
It
because
was
they've never seen a
absolutely
match like
mental.
that before.
Back to that again as well. Fan interaction. So you telling me on the main, so you probably want your main events to get one of your main events to get match of the year. But the people voted that Pete Dunne Tyler Bate match as match of the year from the takeover Chicago, I think it was, and like WWE didn't block that or say, "Oh no, we'll give it to somebody else." Like
It
was
raises too
it
many
was an
questions.
NXT award, though, wasn't it? It wasn't a main roster. It was just NXT awards.
no, yeah, it was just the NXT
Yeah, yeah.
awards.
I mean, it was still for the championship though, so it was still.
It raises too many questions about
And
the
that's
main
it.
roster,
And
though, like the main
got,
shows.
you know
like,
who got Young Up and Coming award? That's Cesar Bononi, who's lost every match and hasn't really been showcased.
Oh, the Brazilian kind of
Yeah,
guy.
like so the people must like him, and they've said, "Oh, we like him," even though he's not really being presented that
he's,
much.
he's probably on the live shows all the time.
Yeah,
why are the
Why?
why are the main roster?
Tell me it's
Right,
nature. Why?
Why
Listen
are
to
they
that.
not? Why are they
R&B
not
90s.
booking
David, do it
main
that
event
way.
matches? Why are they not talking to people from NXT? Why are they not watching that and going, "We need to do that"?
Why?
because what do you mean?
Like WrestleMania main event should be something like Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne.
But that I disagree with you slightly on that because that's not going to bring any casual flan.
people won't-
Casual flan.
Casual flange. I don't know. Most people won't know that flange. Nah, that those guys.
That's
like,
But
No,
if
I
it's the
don't
Rock
mean that.
Cena,
I don't mean that. I mean like that caliber of match.
because people can't do it.
But they should be able to.
The main roster, big heavyweights, can't do that.
but that's the thing. That's though.
They need to start pushing these guys really badly though to make them as big as those guys so they can main event events like that.
This is why people like Jericho and Benoit are so special, because they weren't big guys, but they can push to that main event level because they were so good. Like, you can't become a professional wrestler when you're that size unless you're that good.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like, it's rare that you can get that push. Like, Jericho will say how lucky he was, but at the same time, like, he's obviously insanely taunted.
That's why, like your Jericho's, your Jericho's, your Duns, Bates, Garganos,
Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. That's why they're such fantastic wrestlers, because it's like they don't have the size, and in some cases don't have the personality. So like,
I just don't think the likes of your WrestleMania and stuff like that. I don't think they need to bring the legends back all the time because
well, we'll talk about this before.
The
Counterproductive.
when I was
But to get your casual
younger,
fan in though, if you've got the Rock, it's going to get your casual.
yeah,
fan
but
in.
when I was younger and I was watching Attitude Era Wrestling, they didn't bring old people back then. They didn't bring they just didn't.
It's
It was
'cause
like Rock.
But maybe it's
Stone
the
Cold,
thing, and
they
we
were all
don't
like-
have
yeah,
stars that
that's
big.
because the old people that they
But
brought back
that's
then.
because they're holding them back.
Yeah, but you've got to think then, though, the old people that they brought back couldn't wrestle to the standard that they could, even in the Attitude Era. Like, you watch WrestleMania 1 compared to WrestleMania 15, the standard is ridiculous. Like, I know they could technically wrestle, but, like, they couldn't do more than 3 moves. So if you brought a
Different
ref,
style,
if what they would do is all you could do is bring back Hacksaw Jim Duggan then back in the day, like when we watched it when we were kids, and all he would do was just clothesline people. Whereas now, if you bring even like Ric Flair when he came back could do stuff still. Do you know what I mean? He was like one of the rare ones.
Do you know? It's
But he was like arguably one of the best wrestlers.
there's going to
Yeah.
come a time though where these guys are physically not able to come back, so
You've
they're
gotta
going to
have your
have to.
stars.
They're going to have push them from somewhere.
I'm going to say then we should end that there.
Why?
Okay.
Oh, that's
Mini?
Nice.
Enjoyed
That was
it.
a nice
It was
mini.
very
It was
like,
good
let's
mini.
squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in.
That was
Oof.
intense.
Oof. Squeezing it in. Ouchie.
Oh, my pants are full.
Should we end it there?
Yeah?
Right. Bye.
I enjoyed that.
It was good, yeah.
It was
Bye.
tasty, wasn't it? Bye, everyone.